let me say something about this, but this is a great point you're raising here. If you go into a beginner's class in any jiu-jitsu school in the world, Brazil, United States, Europe, Australia, anywhere, okay? You go into a beginner's class and you talk to a white belt jiu-jitsu student who's been training 2-3 weeks, okay? Maybe he's only had 6-10 classes. And if he's down on the floor, he or she is down on the floor, and you ask him a question, what should you be doing right now in this sparring situation? They can almost always give you a pretty clear answer. If they're in the bottom of the mounted position, they can tell you, well, I should be trying to get out of the mount and put my opponent back in guard. If they're caught between their opponent's legs in the guard position, they should say, well, I probably should be getting past my opponent's legs and getting to a dominant pin. If they're in the mounted position, they might say to you, well, I should be looking for a stranglehold or an arm lock. They can give you a pretty good answer as to what they ought to be doing at any point down on the ground. But if you took those same students, not even at white belt level, but at blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and you ask them, what should you be doing in the standing position? They look at you like, I don't really know. I think I get a hold of him and I pull guard. The disparity between the knowledge that jiu-jitsu students exhibit on the floor, where they have a very good idea right from the start as to what they ought to be doing at any given moment in a match, where jiu-jitsu students on average are very impressive in this regard. You can take a guy who's been training for 2 weeks and he can tell you in very clear, very orderly language exactly what he ought to be doing at any time down on the floor. And then standing position, there's just no answer. It's like, I don't know, I get a grip on the guy, I guess I'm just going to pull guard.
No, and then I remember, like, again, when I started jiu-jitsu, in the beginning, I would do close guard. And the reason I would do close guard with everybody when I was like white and yellow belt was because I wanted to pull guard as fast as I could. I didn't want to be standing for like 10 seconds because I knew I didn't have any standing background. And it was the same thing with half guard, because at some point I couldn't close the guard anymore. So half guard was the easiest way that I had to start the match. I just had to jump sideways, but I wish I had that standing game.
What I see among so many students in jiu-jitsu is that when they look at the standing position, they look at a guard pull as something they have to do. There's no choice. They have to do it because there's no alternative. They don't have any other skills. What I would like in the future is to see jiu-jitsu students pull guard not because they have to, but because they want to. In other words, they have alternatives. They could have gone for a takedown. They could have gone for a standing submission. But they decide that tactically, in this particular match, I'm going to pull guard. As opposed to, that's the only game I got. I have no alternative. I want to see jiu-jitsu players in the future deciding to pull guard because they want to. Because for this particular match, it's the tactically sound thing to do, not because they have no alternative. They should have some kind of alternative. They should be able to attempt takedowns from front and back. They should be able to attempt standing submission entries. And I want to see in the future, as I said, a generation of jiu-jitsu students who see guard pulling as one choice amongst many, rather than it's the only game I've got.
No, enjoy. And I think like your squad back it up everything you're saying, because if you think about like, Gordon is not a wrestler, but you see him taking down people all the time.
Think about the finals of ADCC. He got 3 takedowns by knee pick and made it look relatively effortless. That's for a gold medal match against a guy who I believe won silver at the World Championships in the gi, and obviously was a silver medalist in ADCC. This is a high-level opponent. And yet Gordon, who never wrestled a day in his life, was able to hit 3 beautiful takedowns. My point is simple. And this goes back to probably one of my most well-known students, George St. Pierre. Many of you know George St. Pierre as one of the premier takedown artists of mixed martial arts history, if not the greatest of all time.
And has never done wrestling in his life, right?
He never wrestled competitively in his life. Now, he studied wrestling and has many high-level wrestling partners, but he was never a competitive wrestler. He did not grow up wrestling. He started wrestling when he was 18 or 19. Now, ordinarily, you would think that would be a huge disadvantage. If he went up against great MMA wrestlers like Josh Koscheck, John Fitch, Johnny Hendricks, you would think, well, these guys started wrestling when they were 5 years old, and they wrestled competitively all the way up to college and beyond. So he would never be able to take them down, right? And yet, if you look at his fights, he took them all down on multiple occasions. Now, why was he able to do that? It's because the rules of mixed martial arts and the conditions and directives of mixed martial arts are considerably different from wrestling. All the setups, all the distancing, the stances, everything is different from wrestling. And under those circumstances, someone like Georges St-Pierre, who had no formal background in wrestling up until relatively late age, was able to outperform wrestlers. Now, could he beat those same wrestlers in an actual wrestling match? Absolutely not.
Yep.
Okay, George's only focus in wrestling is in takedowns. If he fought a really good wrestler in freestyle wrestling, for example, he would easily be turned on the ground with leg laces and gut wrenches.
MMA rules,
but under MMA
or
rules,
on jiu-jitsu rules.
Now, my point is, a jiu-jitsu player who might ordinarily struggle badly against a wrestler in a wrestling match or against a judo player in a judo match could, with training in the future and future generations, could even defeat supposedly better wrestlers and judo players under jiu-jitsu rules.
Okay, not in the wrestling rules.
It wouldn't beat them in wrestling, wouldn't beat them in judo, but under jiu-jitsu rules, there will come a day in the future where I believe that jiu-jitsu athletes will be able to outperform highly seasoned, experienced standing grapplers from other arts in a jiu-jitsu rules, just as Georges St-Pierre outperformed technically better wrestlers under mixed martial arts rules. Now, as we said, could George beat them in a wrestling match? I believe it would be competitive, but I don't believe he would beat them in their specific rule sets.
Okay.
But our job is to create a situation in the future where jiu-jitsu students understand the unique aspects of jiu-jitsu standing game, which is substantially different from wrestling, substantially different from judo, and develop a mature jiu-jitsu standing game. And I believe they can be highly effective.
Okay, and John, I think another example as well from your squad is Gary, right? Because he had one of the most beautiful takedowns in the ADCC against Dante.
Yes.
And also, like, all his game is about like submissions coming from the standing
position.
Game. So,
there's a whole set of skills of standing entries into submissions, which is so underdeveloped in current jiu-jitsu that it's a crying shame, to be honest with you. And I've always been extraordinarily proud of Gary's development of standing entries into submissions. Like you see, he hits a beautiful scissor or kani basami into heel hooks, entries into all manner of leg locks, rolling entries, sliding entries. He can go up a body and attack arm locks and triangles. And this is an underdeveloped aspect of jiu-jitsu, and I would love to show some of these aspects in the feet to floor series.
That makes a lot of sense. And while you were talking, I was thinking here, so for example, and those who take a little bit of advantage of that, for example, if you think in the jiu-jitsu with Gui, for example, Rodolfo Vieira, Jacaré,
they scored a lot of points.
They made some damage.
They scored a lot of points and won a lot of matches with takedowns. My point to you is this, Bernardo. The current state of standing skills in jiu-jitsu is that there are a few outstanding athletes who have done, I believe, a great job of incorporating standing skills into jiu-jitsu. You've already mentioned a couple of great examples. Jacaré used to use very nice judo. Now, what was it, world level judo? No, absolutely not. If he entered a high level judo tournament, he'd be thrown in a matter of seconds. But for jiu-jitsu purposes, it was damn good. Rodolfo Vieira, another great example. Rodolfo had very effective takedowns. Now, would Rodolfo go into a judo tournament and beat people? No, absolutely not.
Even Buchecha?
Yeah, Buchecha has very effective. It's not pretty, but he has an effective double leg takedown, and it works. He gets it to work under the conditions of jiu-jitsu. Your great friend, the guy you like so much, Urbis Santos. So I had to throw that in there, Bernardo. You have to admit, Urbis got a very good standing game. He's got an excellent jiu-jitsu standing game. He does it really well, and I'm impressed by him.
And it's hard to start a match against.
It's difficult, and if you look at someone like Rodolfo and Urbis, they have skills which are engineered specifically for the jiu-jitsu game. And I believe even if they fought a good wrestler or a good judo player under jiu-jitsu rules, they do pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, would they go into a judo tournament or a wrestling tournament and beat people? No, absolutely not. But they would be very effective in a standing position against
No, yeah,
pretty good
I have
background.
seen like jiu-jitsu guys taking down Olympic judo guys just because the rules are completely different. They're not
I'm
expecting
going to give you an
that.
example right now. My own student, Travis Stevens, who's one of the best judo players of his generation around the world, was taken down by Yuri Samoy with a simple collar drag when they fought each other. Now, if you had Travis and Yuri going in a judo match, Travis is going to throw him all day, every day. But under jiu-jitsu rules, Yuri Samoy took down Travis Stevens with a pretty simple takedown, a collar drag. It's not a difficult takedown to perform.
Yeah, I remember like Léo Leite, for example. He was like from the Brazilian
and he was
team,
very
judo,
good at judo.
And Bochecha was able to take him down. Times. Yeah.
And Léo Leite, I believe he was like
he was from the Brazilian team.
He was on the Brazilian squad.
Yeah.
And guys, if you don't know, the Brazilian judo squad is a damn good one. It's one of the premier squads in the world. It's not like Brazil has a weak judo team. They're very, very good. They have some outstanding individuals. To get on their squad, you have to be very, very good in judo. It's impressive.
Yeah,
and for Bochecha to take down a guy like that under jiu-jitsu rules, that's an impressive achievement on Bochecha's part. So my point is that there may well be a future where jiu-jitsu players, if they put their mind to it and they train hard in the standing position under jiu-jitsu rules with the peculiar aspects of the standing game in jiu-jitsu, which is substantially different from wrestling and judo, could be very effective.
And John, this one has a little bit of background, not a little bit, has some background on wrestling, but see the damage that Nick Rudd makes in no-gi just because he has the wrestling plus his jiu-jitsu. But
our point is that if you can find a way to integrate standing skills, it's not like, I think a lot of people have this fear that they're worried that they could spend a lot of time working standing skills and have no reward because everyone's just going to pull guard on them. If they find out they're good at takedowns, everyone's just going to pull guard. And yet, history has shown very clearly that people who have good standing skills, if they're creative, can find ways to incorporate and score points in international competition. Nicky Rod did it at ADCC. Bochecha does it regularly in jiu-jitsu competition. Everyone knows Bochecha's got a good double leg, and yet he still scores with it. Everyone knows that Rodolfo Vieira's got good takedowns, but he still scores with them. Okay, our point is time spent in the standing position is time well spent. It's not just something where you do it because it might be beneficial to you or you feel like you have a duty to learn jiu-jitsu. History has shown very clearly that there's an outstanding group of athletes who regularly score and win matches with standing skills.